All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. This isn't the most pleasant video to make for some of you for obvious reasons. But Modiphius has put out their chapter 4 kind of blog post update, kind of more of a chapter 5 and onward update, but we'll get to that. Now, if you've been watching the channel, we've been doing a lot of Elder Scrolls Call to Arms for our stream days on Thursdays. So if you want to see more of that, hit the like button, hit the sub button so you can come and join us and hang out, because we're probably going to be doing a lot more of it, to be honest. I'm enjoying it a lot. But we've been doing a lot of it. It's something I got into maybe about a year ago and then kind of dropped because it was rather expensive. But I've gotten back into it recently and I've been having a good time. But there's some stuff that confirms some speculation that I think is going to be the case going forward. Now, I will touch on all of the specifics as we get to them. But for now, we'll just jump into the blog post. I'll try to link this down below if I remember, if you want to go check it out. Otherwise, we'll talk about it here. So here we go. This is the Chapter 4 and Rulebook updates. Now, something that even I remember when I was playing, they were talking about revising the rulebook. They're finally done with that. It's all done. You can download it for free. But if you own a copy of the physical rulebook, which I do, basically you fill out a form, submit a picture of you holding the book physically, and they'll email you basically a coupon code to get the book for free. You just pay for the shipping, which is super cool. Think of a few companies that do not do that. So the fact that they are doing that is pretty sweet. I'll definitely be putting in for that just so I have the updated book. From what I looked at through the PDF originally, didn't look like a ton of changes just in my limited Call to Arms knowledge, because there's a lot in there that goes on. This is all part of a setup from a stream that we just did. So is it a big deal? Probably not, but it's cool that they're willing to do that. They even specified in the Discord that they know it can be kind of exploited, but making it more complicated they didn't want to do because people might have the book secondhand or whichever, so they're not doing like order details or anything, it seems. So super consumer friendly there, which is cool. The Chapter 4 card pack, they touch on here that they had a print issue, I guess. They had to change some stuff, and that's being pushed later. So it was supposed to start, I think, early this coming month, and it's being pushed to June, July for US. Not great. So if you're in the UK, you'll get it sometime in May, but because of the way stock and stuff works in the US, we're not going to be getting that till June or July. I do want to pick this pack up, actually, specifically for the dragon, because I think it's awesome. I'd love to try to actually use it somehow. So, 2 brand new gameplay elements, because I think right now you can get the Draugr playable faction rules as a PDF online, but you're going to get print cards here, so that's pretty cool if you want to actually use the Draugr as a faction. And then the epic creatures like giants, dragons, all of that kind of stuff. That's pretty sweet. Let's see, what do we got? Yep, release pack, so on and so forth. This is where things start to get interesting, especially for me. This is what got me back into the game, to be honest, was the My Mini Factory campaign. So to back this campaign, it was $120, and you got a metric shit ton of STLs, basically the entire Chapter 1 range. You got the dragon, you got the watchtower, you got a lot of terrain, you got a lot of tokens. There are even more models that I think I actually completely forgot about that they're doing, that were from the adventure game that they're creating cards and rules for that you're going to get access to. So there's some unique stuff in there, like probably $400 or $500 worth of stuff if you were to buy it outright, that you got access to. Now, for somebody with a 3D printer like myself, that was great. I absolutely did that, hence why I have my wonderful dragon, which again is like $150 if you buy it from them, versus $120 to back the campaign. I could print as many of these dragons as I want. So it was good for me. It got me kind of back into the swing of things. And they specifically state here that it was so successful that they're going to do the rest of the range in mini factory campaigns. The entire 4 chapters of the product line will be re-released as STLs through my mini factory. So they're definitely doing the rest of the range, which is great, especially because from what I understand, like some of the Dwemer, I know I have a little ice or frost Atronach thing. They're little, so you could reprint those to be more of an appropriate scale. So that's cool. But now my hunch with this was like, oh boy, I was always concerned because I think the Call to Arms models are super cool, but I was like worried that I wouldn't be able to like kind of collect what I wanted to before the game disappeared, because Call to Arms is pretty small. We all know that. It's a shame it doesn't get more attention because it is a really cool game system. It is what it is. But now part of what I was worried about with this was wondering what this would entail for the future, and now we have it. Now they do say it'll continue to be supported in retail with a 2-player starter set, and I guess the existing set of releases that you can get physically, you'll still be able to. But going forward, which this is where people are not happy. Reading through the Discords, the Modiphius Discord, the Call to Arms Discord, people are not thrilled. And some people are already saying that they're stepping away because of this. And I'll share my thoughts in just a moment. So for Chapter 5, Forgotten and Forsaken, will be arriving later this year in print-at-home STL format, so no physicals for Chapter 5. Now they're doing this in another Frontiers campaign. I'll be curious to see what they charge, if they're going to keep the same cost format, or if they're going to change that. We'll have to wait and see. I do feel like the first one was a really, really good value, but I'm not sure. Forgotten and Forsaken focuses on the 2 remaining factions in Skyrim, the Falmer and the Forsworn. Does that mean that Chapter 5 is the last chapter? Or is this just the last of the Skyrim stuff? And I don't know. Touch more on that in a second. We'll be providing unit cards to use these new models in a digital format with more details to follow. So Chapter 5, all digital. They're not doing physical releases. And this was confirmed in the Discord by people asking. It is all digital. They're not doing any physical stuff. Now, maybe they could partner with some of these other companies that you could basically have them print it for you. But right now, the only surefire way to get this is to have a friend print it or to have you print it. And that has put a lot of people off. And I get why they're doing this. Because it's such a small game, I wouldn't be surprised if it came down to, we're going to run this campaign, we're going to see if it's something that we have enough interest in, and if we do, then that could be our sustaining factor going forward. Because if it came down to either we have to shut the game down or we just provide digital stuff, I'm sure there's a thing there that people would prefer. Again, given how small it is, there's no telling how expensive the Elder Scrolls license is. It's just an unfortunate reality that we're in. We'll talk more about this in just a second. So they show off some of the models here. They're pretty cool. There's one specific that people are excited for, it seems. But you get all sorts of cool models in here. And specifically this little guy, a little mud crab. So that's pretty sweet. And he said a few denizens, so I wonder if they're going to add more of the stuff. And I also wonder if that's going to give them the ability to push stuff out quicker, have a little bit more freedom with stuff. I know people have been asking for wolves, and they just say there's plenty of great wolf models out there, but kind of hard to find in the sea of stuff, to be honest. So with all that being said, people are really, really not happy about the move to all digital moving forward. And like I said, I understand completely why that's the case, but I have a feeling it came down to it's either no game or digital game, and clearly there's enough of a support group through my mini factory for that last campaign that they went with a digital game. Now, as far as the 2 remaining factions in Skyrim, is Chapter 5 going to be the end of Elder Scrolls Call to Arms? We don't know. They have said in the Discord, there are developers and stuff in there that talk with the community, so if you have questions, you can go ask them there, that they are working on things, and they really can't say anymore. What that means, obviously, we have no idea. They've been trying to answer questions regarding all of this stuff. There's a lot of interesting stuff. A lot of people, like I said, are more on the negative side. I would try to be as optimistic as we can be, because again, I would imagine that the choice came down to no game or digital game. I think even those of us who maybe don't have a printer would prefer a digital game for the potential of something down the road, because maybe the digital world opens up a whole nother side of this and allows for physical stuff to start up again. Who knows? But if the game dies, well, that's a wrap on that. So I would try to be as positive as you can within reason. I know it sucks. I know people live in studio apartments. I'm fortunate enough to have a space I can have my printers and stuff and it not be a big deal. But I know not everybody's as lucky as that. So I get the sentiment in the community currently. I would just try to wait and see how things go, see what the release cadence is, see if it improves other things that have been lacking. Call to Arms has not had a whole lot of releases recently. So I'm gonna be optimistic. I play other games, so it's not the end of the world, but I do really enjoy the Call to Arms models. I enjoy the solo delve stuff. I enjoy the narrative books. I'll be curious to see if they do more stuff. People were expecting them to kind of capitalize on the Oblivion hype, and they didn't. But like, I would love to see Daedra models and stuff like that. So I'm optimistic, and I think them moving to a digital format could be a really good, almost fresh start for Elder Scrolls Call to Arms. We'll just have to wait and see, unfortunately. So it's not great news, but it's news, and that's better than some games get. There's still potential for the future. Like I said, try to be as positive as can be, but I get it. But I just wanted to make a video and talk about this because I think it was actually really interesting reading the stuff throughout the day, and I figured, you know what? There's not a ton of Elder Scrolls Call to Arms people out there, so I wanted to put together a video and talk about it. So if you didn't know, now you know. But we still do tabletop stuff on this channel. We do all sorts of random shit on this channel, to be honest. But we do tabletop games every Thursday. If you want to become a member or have any ideas for perks or rewards for the memberships, let me know down below. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the Elder Scrolls Call to Arms Chapter 4 blog post update. I'd be curious to know what you guys have to say, given the nature of what the announcement kind of was. But yeah, consider sticking around because we do fun stuff. All right. I appreciate you guys being here. I will see you guys in the next one. All right. Bye, guys.